So I wanted to just jump in real quick and talk about comparing contracts because this can be very, very confusing and frustrating, especially in the beginning when you're unsure and it seems like there's a lot of money coming from different places and you don't really understand it all and you don't even know if you're getting a fair amount and what is a fair amount and this person's getting paid more than me hourly and what does that mean? And there's so many gray areas, it feels like. And so we get paid very differently as travelers than we do as full-time employees, right? As a full-time employee, you get paid X amount of dollars per hour times 40 hours a week. That's what you're taxed on. That's what you bring home. Very simple across the board, right? As travelers, there's so many different pockets and so many different categories that our money is broken down into. And that's where it can get a little bit more confusing because we can't just look at what we're getting paid hourly or what this contract is giving in housing or what this contract is giving in travel reimbursement, right? We can't just look at one number and base our ideas on that contract based on just one number. So we really have to dive in deeper and look at the entire package of how that money is being split up in this contract so that we can fully understand and get the big picture. And that's how we can compare other contracts to one another. So this is what we do. This is what I know to be true, or the easiest way, I guess, that we've figured out of how to compare contracts. And so I'll share that with you. If you know any other tricks or tips or tools or anything, please feel free. This is not a one-sided conversation. This is not we know it all, because we definitely don't. We are learning and growing and just learning a lot as we go through this journey. We've been traveling for 5 years and we've learned a lot, but we learn so much every single contract, every single day. So I'm just sharing what I know to be true. And if you know something different or more helpful, please share and let us know, right? We're totally open. We're learning and we're growing together. And so what we do is, first of all, how we get paid is always based on the bill rate that the hospital sets. And I'm not going to go into too much depth on the bill rate because we've done a whole video on breaking down the bill rate and what that means, how you get paid from that, the entire pay package. We really dove deep and we just broke that down so that you have a really good, clear understanding of how you get paid as a traveler. So I don't want to dive into that too much for the sake of this video. So I'm going to assume that you already understand that, okay? So you get this big pot of money that's based on the bill rate, and from that big pot of money, your company is going to get paid, your recruiter is going to get paid, everybody's going to get paid out of this big pocket of money, this big bucket of money. Now, whatever is left over after everybody else has been paid is your chunk, your pay package, okay? Now, however they divide up this money is dependent on the company, the recruiter, the contract itself. But that pocket of money isn't going to change. The way they divide it up will change based on the company, etc. Okay? So some companies might try to use marketing as a way to incentivize you to come and work for them. Like, you're going to get this bonus money, or we're going to give you X amount for travel reimbursement. And they can use like different things to try to entice you to come and work for them. But at the end of the day, it's still your money. It's still coming out of this same pocket. It's still, that number isn't going to change. It's just the way they divvy it up that changes. So that's just marketing tactics and stuff to try to get you to come in and work for them. But no money is free. There's no bonus money. There's no, unless it's bonus money by the hospital itself. But when we're talking about the company, there's no real bonus money. It's just your money already that's coming out of this pot that was set by the bill rate that the hospital is willing to pay. Okay, so now that you have this pocket of money, that's going to be divided up into your hourly wage, your housing, your per diem, so your meals and incidentals, things like that, your travel reimbursement, if you were reimbursed for licenses or anything like that, there's different things that you can be reimbursed for. So all of that is broken down into your pay package, okay, into your contract. And so first I'll say to make sure with your recruiter that they are not just giving you like a lump sum of money, like you're going to make $2,000 a week. You're like, no, I need that broken down into these sections. We also have this in the file section of this group. We have a breakdown of a real contract of one of our contracts and how our recruiter breaks down our pay so that we can understand where all of that money is coming from. Because if we don't understand where our money is going, A, we can't negotiate, and B, it's really hard to compare and contrast where our money is going and how that differs from another contract. So if your recruiter isn't doing that, I would say first and foremost, they need to be doing that. They absolutely need to be breaking it down for you. Secondly, I've heard people saying that their recruiters aren't giving them their net pay, which is your net pay is what you take home every single week after taxes. And it's tough for me because I've never been in that situation. I just assume all recruiters do it because our recruiters always given us our net pay. They always break down what we will be actually bringing home every single week. And he knows that because he knows we claim 0 and married. So he factors it in and he's able to take our taxable money and figure that out with what we claim and then adding in our stipends and all the other stuff. And like, this is what we'll be making every single week take home. So for the people that have said that their recruiters aren't doing that, I would ask your recruiter, why can't you do that? This is what I claim, whatever it is you claim. And it would be really helpful for me if you could do this because it helps me compare. It helps me understand a little bit of where my money is going and just what I'm going to be bringing home every week. So I would ask them about that. And if they're not able to do that, I would ask why, because I guess I just don't really understand why they wouldn't be able to do that. You can also do it yourself online, like taking whatever your taxable wage is and then multiplying that by whatever your bracket would be depending on what you claim. I've never done that, but I'm assuming it's pretty simple to do. So that being said, where was I? Making sure that you know your categories that you're in, okay? Because you can look at a contract and say, this one I'm getting paid $23 an hour. In this contract, I'm getting $28 an hour. And say, oh, well, obviously the $28 an hour is a better contract. When in all actuality, it may not be depending on the other stuff that's in that contract where that other money has been split up. Because maybe in that $23 an hour contract, you're getting more in housing. You're getting more travel reimbursement, right? Where in that $28 an hour, you are getting less, and so you're actually going to be taking home less at the end of the week, right? So that's why it's important that we look at all the categories, where all this money is going. And then what I do is whatever that net is going to be. So say I make $2,000 a week. I'm going to divide that, and that's what I'm taking home. I'm going to divide that by 40. Okay, I'm not great at math. I think that's like $50 an hour or something. Hold on. I'm really not good at math, you guys. So $2,000 a week divided by 40 is 50. Wow, I was right. Okay. $50 a week. So that $50 a week represents what I'm getting paid taxable and what I'm getting paid non-taxable, right? Like that's everything that I'm making an hourly with all the incentives, all the categories, everything that has been included, $50 a week. So you can do that and you're like, okay, contract A, I'm writing this down, $50 a week. Simple. Now, contract B, where maybe it looked like I was getting more because I got the $28 an hour, and then when I really break it down with my housing, my per diem, I divide it by the 40 hours a week, and I realize with this contract, I'm only making $47 an hour, right? So that would be a way to compare of like, it may at first glance looked like I was making less on contract A, but when I broke it all down, I saw where all this money was coming from, and I divided that whole amount by the amount of hours I'm going to work each week. I realized hourly I'm actually making more money with contract A than I am with contract B. And so that's how you can really break down each contract, because it's so hard to know, even talking to other travelers in the same facility. Talking to another traveler, I've done this before, and she's like, yeah, I'm making, $40 an hour. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm only making, 30. What? Like, this is crazy. Like, I'm totally getting, screwed by my recruiter. But that's not enough information to go off of, because she may be making more hourly, but I'm getting more in housing, and I'm getting more of my per diem, and I got more in my travel reimbursement. They just put more into her taxable because that's what she wanted for whatever reason, right? So there's There's so many factors that go into it. And so you really have to know the whole picture. And the only way to know that is to look at each category that you're getting paid, add that up, figure out what you're making hourly for each contract divided by the 40 hours. And that will give you kind of an idea of what that contract is versus another contract. Another thing to think about is what you're getting, right? Because sometimes it's not all about the money, right? We want to be compensated. We want fair pay, right? We want to make sure that we're getting our fair amount and that our recruiters and companies are taking advantage of us. And we want to make sure that we feel good and comfortable in our pay packages. But also, what else are you getting from a certain company? So for instance, we primarily worked with AMN. AMN is a huge monster of a company. It is huge, okay? But, so we might make a little bit less because there's more money that's going to come out of our big pot, that bill rate, that big pot of cash we get from the beginning, because there's more people that have to be paid out, because there's more people that are there helping us, supporting us, helping us kind of chug along in this contract. But for me, AMN has tons of jobs. They have tons of contracts with different hospitals. And so there's always a lot of opportunity to work with them. I've never in 5 years have had a problem finding a job and finding a good job and finding a job that I liked and enjoyed in a location that I desired. Never have had a problem. My recruiter is always on it. I email him. He emails me right back. He calls me right back. He's always, there's never been a time that I've called him and that he hasn't gotten back to me within that day, right? Or emailed me right back. He's always checking in. How is this going? How is this new contract? Are you looking, if I'm off, when will you be looking for a job? He's always thinking of me. He's always reaching out to me. There's not a lot of long periods of time that go by that I'm not connected with him in some way, which makes me feel good. It makes me feel supported. It makes me think like he's always looking out for my best interest and keeping me in the forefront when he's looking at job opportunities. Also, when we do take a contract with them, there's an account manager, there's somebody that, if I'm ever having a problem with my paycheck, I have a person that I call that's specifically about my pay, that I can call, ask questions to, they get right back to me, so I have an understanding of what's going on with my paycheck, right? So there's all these people that are working together to support me as a traveler, and for me, that's worth it. I could work with maybe a smaller company and make some more money, a little bit more money, but maybe the recruiter doesn't get right back to me, or I have to wait a long time to hear back from somebody, or I just don't have the same support that I do with AMN, right? So you're comparing and contrasting all of these different things. There's so many different variables to go off of and to think about when you're taking a contract. Also, just from another standpoint of like how you feel, right? Like listening to your intuition, to your gut, what feels the best? Like maybe this contract is a little bit less money, but it feels really good to me for some reason. Like maybe it's in a really great location that you have really wanted to go to, so you're willing to take a little bit less money because it feels really good and that feels exciting to you. Or just the vibes that you're getting from this person, you really connected and that felt really good. Where this contract, you're going to be making a little bit more money, but you're kind of like, I don't know, I'm not really sure about this. You kind of have resistance towards it. Learn to listen to your intuition, learn to listen to your gut, learn to listen to when things feel right and when things feel wrong, and to not feel pushed or pressured into doing something when it doesn't feel right. Do not let a recruiter push you into something if it doesn't feel right. That is a huge red flag. A recruiter is there to support you and guide you and give you opportunity and walk you through things, but they are not there to push you or make you feel pressure into doing something that you don't feel comfortable doing or doesn't feel right for you, okay? First and foremost, just nip that in the bud right away. Like, you are empowered. You're educating yourself, especially if you're in this group. You are learning so much about being a traveler and being a good traveler, and you have so many opportunities that you do not have to settle for one that doesn't feel good. You just don't, okay? There's going to be more to come. There's so many different companies to work for. There's so many jobs out there. Do not settle for something that doesn't feel right, because I hate seeing that, especially with new travelers. They feel like they just have to take something because it's their first one. It's their first contract. They just have to do it. And that's not true. Do what feels right in your heart and in your soul, and weigh out your options, okay? There's lots of variables, lots of different things to consider and to think about when you will be taking a contract. And it's not all about the money, right? It's weighing out the full package. Sorry, my dog is barking at somebody. Mimi. She's being naughty. Anyway, so I hope that answers the question. I feel like I kind of explained it okay. I don't know. This is really confusing and it can be a lot. And so watch this video, take notes, ask questions. I'm here if you have any questions about this. And just share if you know any other different tips or tools about how you compare contracts, because this is kind of the best way that I've known how to do it and how we do it. And I think that's pretty much it. Just ask any questions. We're here to support you guys. And understanding this stuff is so important. Understanding these basic principles, these ideas. The bill rate. If you haven't watched the video on the bill rate, watch that video. The pay package, watch that video. Negotiations, watch that video. It's so important because as a traveler, if you don't know the right questions to ask, if you don't understand, if you're not educated, then you're going to be gypped as a traveler, because unfortunately, if you're not asking the right questions, your recruiter isn't always going to give you, they're not always going to advise you or educate you. Like, it's your job as a traveler to be educated and empowered and to know as much as you possibly can so that you know the right questions to ask. You know the red flags to look for. You know the right way to be paid and what's fair and what's not, right? That's on you. And so using these resources and these groups out there to learn as much as you can. I wish I would have known about, there would have been different groups and stuff when I first started traveling, because I didn't know anything. Erran and I knew nothing, and we missed out on a lot of money. We wasted a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of back and forth. And just looking back at all the things, like the contracts that we took and stuff and the money that we took, and it was like, now knowing what I know now, I'm like, oh my God, that was crazy, right? But I didn't know what I know now. So taking the time to learn now so you can have a successful career as a healthcare traveler in the future, so worth your time. It's amazing because it's an incredible experience. It's so much fun. And so you just want to be able to feel comfortable moving forward with the pay and all of that other stuff so that you can just go into each contract just with the intention to have fun and to meet people and to put yourself out there and to grow and to become a better version of yourself and to challenge yourself and to live in these cool places and have these amazing adventures, because that's what it's really about. So if we can learn as much as we need to know about the logistical stuff and feel more comfortable and confident in that area, that sets us up to have these incredible experiences out on the road. And it just makes it easier for us, and it's less energy and less stress and less time and anxiety that we have to spend worrying about all this other stuff. So that being said, watch the videos, ask us any questions. I'm also going to do a video on explaining the blended rate a little bit of what that means when it comes to taking call, because I know there's been a lot of questions about that, and it's something that can be a little bit confusing. So I will be doing a video on that probably this weekend sometime to go over that a little bit more in depth, and like when your recruiter is saying that they don't do the blended rate, what that means and what questions you should be asking if you do get that response, because that's really important. So I'll be doing that. Have an awesome Friday. I am here in the group all day, so let me know if you have any questions about comparing contracts, and I will see you guys later.